What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Humble Warrior, checking in with you today. Wanted to do a little recap on the Miami Dolphins and Atlanta Falcons preseason game that happened yesterday. My thoughts on Tua's performance in the first half and how the team looked overall. Overall, I thought that he looked very good, in control. He looked like he understood the playbook in its entirety. Although they didn't run very many offensive sets, not to what I saw, it was basically shotgun formation. Every now and then he was underneath the center, but other than that, it was basically a watered down offensive game plan they had. No real plays, no real gadget formations, nothing like that. So to me, it was a pretty basic offense that they put on the field yesterday. But the main objective yesterday was to come out there and move the ball up and down the field, which is exactly what the first team offense did. You watch the game, they kicked the ball out to Atlanta. Atlanta went down, got a field goal. Very first offensive possession, Tua marched the team completely down the field and scored a touchdown. Kicked the ball out back to Atlanta. Then they, forced a turnover on downs. Basically, it was a nice little goal line stand by the defense. So they forced a turnover on downs, and then from the 2-yard line of their own goal line, Tua marched the team down the field. Very precise throws. He looked really, really good in the pocket. His line still needs work, even though people say, "Oh, they didn't have Atlanta didn't have all their starters." Their backups were giving our offensive linemen hell, and Tua still maneuvered in the pocket. Not once did he try to escape the pocket, but he did step up, step to the left, step to the right, moved up toward the middle, shifted over to the right a little bit just so he can get either a check down or a pass down the field. His eyes never left his receivers and where they were be at. So to his credit, he looks a lot more comfortable in that pocket. His pocket presence, his cadence calling, his ability to take over the huddle, all that was very crisp. And it was I think the third possession before they went to the half. Of course, Malcolm Perry dropped that critical 4th and 2. It was actually a rub route that him and, I want to say, Waddle was on that side, or it might have been Hollins. It was either Hollins or Waddle. They did a rub route where he can come underneath it and just sit. As soon as he said, Tua threw the ball immediately, and it hit him in the chest, he dropped it. So that took off an opportunity to be, on a red zone scoring opportunity again. But outside of that, Tua looked really damn good. To all those who keep saying, "Oh, it's the preseason," if he had came out there and threw 2 or 3 interceptions, the pandemic would have started on social media, on ESPN or YouTube platforms. People would have been calling for this boy's head. But I'm also impressed at how when he does well, he gets little to no notoriety. When he does stuff like the mini camp where he threw 5 picks, SportsCenter had a time with that. It even made into the topics. They had a debate topic about him possibly not making a leap his sophomore year from mini camp because he threw 5 picks in his first day of training camp in the rain. And because he threw 5 picks that day, the Dolphins might have bitten more than they could chew, or they might have made a mistake with Tua in a training camp on the first day. Then the second day when he threw 5 touchdowns, nothing got said. So to me, as I stated in other videos, I'm really confused as to why there's so much negativity toward him when he doesn't do anything but keep his head down and work hard. I guess because he's not flashy like Cam, or he doesn't demand as much attention like Watson would, or because he's, soft-spoken, he doesn't really beat up his teammates, kind of like Russell Wilson. You know, he doesn't take credit, but he takes the blame whenever the team does bad. Tua does the exact same thing. He doesn't look around to point fingers. He just says that I have to be better. This is my team. So, in retrospect to that, yesterday he looked great, but he gave all the praise and hype to his teammates, which he should have. He threw on the money dime passes. He literally called the right. I think he audible 2 or 3 plays that he didn't like. The defense gave him a different look, so he went to another play, and they converted. You know, but he looked very, very solid for what he was doing. So I'm curious to see like what happens when week 1 kicks off, because to me, he didn't have none of his starting receivers outside of Waddle. He don't have Parker, Wilson, Fuller, or Williams. And Gronkowski was out there. Just him and Hollins are one hell of a duo. And Myles Gaskin is looking really good too. But he was out there making people look real stupid. And not once did he scrambled once, and I wish he learned how to slide, because he could have taken a real big bad hit, diving head first for a first down. So that's something he has to really, really work on. But I'm pretty sure it'll come with time. They'll go over that film and show him, hey, we don't do this right here. And then the sack he took, to his credit, he fought off 2 defenders, and after that they twisted him around and brought him down, because his line was just standing there. For some reason, they have a hard time blocking simple defensive schemes. I don't know if it's because it's of the motion or them stunting or what, but his offensive line has a hell of a time, holding their blocks. And people will say, oh, well, Tua got to get the ball out, or they're giving him time. By the time he calls height, within 2 seconds, people were in his face. Even blitzing corners and linebackers, they're right there in his face. But he still managed to move around the pocket and find that person he's trying to get the ball to. He still managed to find time to do that. And the clear indication of that was the drop before halftime, when he hit Gronkowski for 30 yards, and he flipped on his ass, and then he hit Gaskins for that touchdown. So the fact that he is that precise now, and you can see the work he put in all summer long and all through training camp and mini camps, the boy looks ready to take over the league. And people can say, oh, well, the schedule they have, it's going to be a test. The first 8 games will determine, how well he really is. But I'm telling you now, if that boy can if they can at least win 6 of those games, and he's throwing for 300 yards a game, and they're winning by a decent margin, people are going to start putting respect on his name. And even if the 2 games they probably will lose is probably Buffalo and Tampa Bay, but that's okay. If they beat Buffalo at Buffalo, that's a huge win to start the season off, because they already got to go to New England, which to me that's gonna be a decent matchup. But I still feel like Miami's better than them, so I think they'll win that game. And then the Buffalo game the following week, that game gonna be a butcher, because Miami's defense is good, but Buffalo for some reason have their number. And I think it's because last season they didn't have that competent quarterback play. So, it went hand in hand when they played against Buffalo the last game of the season. Tua wasn't ready for that spotlight. But to his credit, he didn't give up. He kept fighting, even though they got blown out by 30. But I don't see that outcome happening now, because Buffalo gave up too much. They lost some key receivers and stuff, so I don't see that happening. But Buffalo's still really, really good. No doubt about that. So it's gonna be interesting to see when they do match up against each other, and to see how Tua performs against Josh Allen, because that's what the topic's gonna be about. Tua versus Josh. If Tua actually does manage to lead his team to win, and he outperforms Josh Allen, watch how they try to twist it and give his teammates way more credit to that victory than they would to him. Because they're going to try to make it seem like, if the running game didn't put up 200 plus yards, or this receiver had this, what would the outcome have been? They're doing their job. He gets in the ball, they got to make plays once they catch the ball. Simple as that. He can't be out there throwing it, they got to catch it, and he can move them to the end zone. No, they got to do it. I'm just amazed at how people still find fault in him, even when he goes out there and does what he does. Because to me, he looked like the college player that they had in 2019 when he put up nearly 43 touchdown passes and it was 3,900 yards. That's exactly who he looked like last night. So if he could just stay healthy, and his receivers just stay healthy, and that running game give him some semblance of pressure release, where they can at least get at least 90 to 100 yards a game, that offense is going to be scary. And Tua will be a candidate for MVP, which will be a milestone. If he can actually pull it off to win it, boy, the people in Miami going to go crazy. Because they're going to start calling him the second coming to Dan Marino. Because Dan is still light years ahead of Tua. He's still the best quarterback in Miami Dolphins history. It ain't even a close second. But if Tua could somehow put up, 35 to 4,000 yards this season, 40 touchdowns, maybe 7 picks or something like that, that's going to be epic. And not to mention if he lead them deep into the postseason, them fans are going to know how to act. They literally going to go crazy over the mere fact that if they have a playoff home game, or maybe 2 of those, they're going to have a good-ass time in Miami. And, football is not luck. Football is a team aspect game. But if they manage to string some wins together in the postseason, and then they get to the AFC Championship game, or maybe even the Super Bowl in his second year, boy, that pressure's going to ramp up that following year. But Tua will have a safe haven in Miami. He's going to become a bona fide superstar. And I don't see him changing. I don't see him changing his mindset about that. He's still going to put the pressure on himself to bring a Super Bowl down to Hard Rock Stadium. And I believe he can get the job done. So, with that being said, his numbers yesterday, he was 16 to 23 for 183 yards and a touchdown. I was looking at the other numbers of the other quarterbacks. I think Brissett was 8 of 8 for 99 yards, and Shemit, I think he might have won 6 or 7 or something like that. I don't have the exact stats on him because he's third string, but him and Brisket, Tua and Brisket had really good days, had a really good night. So the team looked dominant. The final score I think was 37-17. So it was a total beatdown. As a matter of fact, the Falcons then started scoring to the fourth quarter after the third string quarterback got in, who was Felipe Franks, the rookie out of Arkansas. So once he got in, he gave up a safety. Then he threw, I think he had 2 touchdown drives. Other than that, it was total dominance. And the first team led by Tua looked amazing yesterday. A lot of people were impressed with Tua. But then, of course, you have the same trolls that get on Facebook or whatever and say things that they say. At this point, I'm just going to ignore you because week 1 is coming. I'm looking forward to that matchup. I am praying that Tua can put up, if Tua puts up anywhere between 300 to 350 yards in that game, and if he throws 4 touchdowns, it's going to be a shitstorm that following day. You're going to have people that probably were not on his side or fans of his being converted over, because they're going to see how determined this kid is. And he has a skill set. He also has a powerful arm. I don't know why people keep saying he can't throw the ball. I don't understand that. They think that the prototypical quarterback is probably the only one that has a powerful arm. No, Tua can whip that bitch 70 yards. And it won't even hurt him. But they just keep thinking because the man is 6'1", and he's at 210 pounds, he has a limp noodle arm, he can't throw it that far. Who keeps telling y'all this BS? I just want to know who keeps doing it. Because to me, Tua will make that sophomore leap. It won't be a slump. He'll probably outperform Justin Herbert, because a lot of people are expecting Herbert to put up these big numbers, and you don't realize NFL defenses, they will adjust to what you do well, and they will take that away from you. They will force you to adjust your game, or to evolve your game to be able to stand in the league. If you can't, then you're done. So I won't be surprised Justin Fields come out struggling hard. Teams are locking down on his offense, and they're forcing him to do other things that he can't do comfortably. I won't be surprised. But understand that last season, they came for Tua. The games he got exposed in, they came for him. The Denver game, the Raiders game, the Buffalo game. Hell, for that matter, the Arizona game that was coming for him, the Bengals game, the Patriots game, they were coming for that boy. It was all about, trying to keep him inside the pocket, because Chan Gailey had that boy rolling out all the time. So it was all about trying to keep him in that pocket, keeping him corralled, where he wouldn't have time to step up or do things of that nature to get the ball out. And sometimes he wasn't always looking down the field. Sometimes he was trying to evade the rusher so that he can, pick his spots where to put the ball at. But this season, you can see, even with defenders launching around him, he just steps up calmly, looks around. If nothing else is open, he does a check down. And what does his running backs do? Now they're getting first down yardage. Now they're getting 20 yards a chunk, or a chunk play. So he looks much more He looks much more in command than in the Chicago game. He's evolving his game. He's taking that next step. And again, the offense that they're showing is just basically watered down, because you don't show your hand in preseason. It makes no sense. You just get the fans enough to cheer about, to get them pumped up for week 1, for what you will unleash on the opponent. That's the whole purpose of preseason. It's not to show you, we could throw the ball 50 times deep. No. Or we can do this gadget play or this trick play. No. You don't want to give defensive coordinators extra notes on you or your offense. You don't give them nothing like that. So it's like going to a restaurant and ordering advertising. It's just to appease you until the entree gets there. And the entree for all us fans is week 1 against the Patriots. So to end this video, like I said, Tua, terrific. Not a single complaint, not one. If you want to throw the sack in there, or definitely got to work on sliding. But other than that, he was great. Which I knew he was going to be great. I've been saying this since they drafted him. I've been saying this since they took him. And since people dogged him out for his rookie season. I've been saying it even then. Now I'm hoping that Brian Flores won't let him play week 3 of the preseason, because it won't make no sense. I'd much rather let Jacoby Brisket and the other guy get the reps and, go to second team players and stuff like that, just to avoid any injuries. Because at that point, you're kind of taking a risk at putting Tua out there in week 3, and defenses will install real defenses or whatever. So you're kind of taking a risk there. So I wouldn't even do it. But it's Coach Flo's team, it's not mine. So if he decided to let him play, at least by halftime, he's done. No matter what his numbers are, he's done. But looking forward to next week, and definitely looking forward to September 12th, when they take on New England Patriots out there in Foxborough. With that being said, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. For those who did see the game, for those who watched the highlights, or just went on ESPN and looked at Gamecast, let me know your thoughts. How did Tua do to you? And what do you think he could improve on, if anything? Alright guys, peace.